Hello, fellow indie authors. In today's video, we're going to examine 3 essential things indie writers should do. The meaning of the word essential. Absolutely necessary. Extremely important. Okay, let's get started with number 1. And it is prioritize your writing consistency and focus on finishing your book. Sounds like great advice. But if you look at that on the realistic level, it's very hard to accomplish those things in just saying those words. We all know as indie writers, there are times your schedule just will not allow you to write. There are times that everything and everyone involved in your schedule seems to be pulling you away from writing. Saying write consistently, saying focus on finishing your book, doesn't get it done. Here's what you really have to do. You have to do some planning, and you have to sit down and say, when can I take? When can I take away from my outside life these 2 hours, maybe an hour, maybe it's just 30 minutes, and how consistently can I take them? Because we all know this, if we write consistently, we stay engaged with that story. We don't have to catch ourselves up when we're trying to come back and get started writing again. Writing consistency, yes, critically important. It is a very, very important part of writing your book. Focusing on finishing your book is a good, I think, secondary goal. Much more so, focus on writing a good book. Focus on revising that book however many times you need to revise it to make sure it's the best writing you can offer. So yes, it is great to prioritize your writing. Do it within reason, without putting undue stress, anxiety, and pressure on yourself. Do a better job of planning so that you have that time to write. When you think about finishing your book, focus on finishing it properly. Okay, let's take a look at the second essential thing beginning writers should do. And it is understand self-publishing fundamentals and book marketing. That is a massive statement just in itself. And if you're someone who has published a book previously, you know it. If you're a beginning writer, it probably sounds good. But let's think about what we're saying here. Understand self-publishing fundamentals. Well, there are about 500 fundamentals of self-publishing. It goes all the way back to planning, to understanding the platform you're on, to understand everything you have to do outside of just writing the book. Then you have to understand how that system operates. And when I say operate, how are you going to be able to upload your work? How are you going to be able to upload your cover? How do you format everything that goes into whatever print-on-demand system you choose? I happen to use KDP, and it was a struggle. It was a huge struggle the first time I did it. So when people say, or the advice says, understand the basics or the fundamentals of self-publishing, carve out some time. There's an awful lot there. And remember, you're not going to know it precisely until you've gone through it. That's what's called experience. It's just like the writing experience. The self-publishing muscle memory you gain from actually doing this process, that's the experience, and that's where you learn. Now, the second piece of that advice was book marketing. There is nothing I've ever said to anyone as advice or tips in the self-publishing and indie author world that makes people just not be happy, and that is marketing your book, marketing and publicizing your book. You have to really take a huge overview of that. And as you write, I would suggest start getting into it. As you write, you have to remember to carve out some time to start doing some research on indie author marketing, on indie author or indie published books, promotional opportunities. They're out there, but they are tough, and you have to develop a little bit of a thick skin. Because remember, There's some places you can go and get good advice, and there are some places you go and you just get ripped. So that's part of our conversation later on. But just understand an overview and try to drill down deeper as you go through the process of writing your book. Because when you finish your book, when you hit publish, in my opinion, you're exactly halfway. Now you've got to market and promote the book. Okay, let's take a look at this third and final essential thing beginning authors should do. And it is find a trustworthy writing community and get feedback. I can't tell you how important that step is. And here's why. You don't know what you don't know. And you don't know very much about the writing process. And a question, are you like I was when I started writing? Are you really excited about the writing process? Does that portion of this whole complex situation really come through and ring true as what you want to do? And do all the other things just seem to be noise that distracts you from the writing, that thing that you're really excited about? Well, you're going to run into things, if you were like I was, you're going to run into things that you just don't understand. You're going to run into writing problems that you just don't know how to solve. And you're going to need to have someone to reach out, or you're just going to do what I did in the beginning. A lot of trial and error that just takes an awful lot of time. So yes, I do believe this is probably the most important tip in this group of three. Finding the right writing community and the writing resource can be very valuable to you. It can make you more efficient. But there's always a challenge with that. What I suggest is this. I offer Sid Mickle Publications as a writing resource and a writing community. We are committed to answering questions. We'll be glad to comment on your comment and give you the best advice we can without all the drama, without the criticism that is unnecessary. You see, I remember quite well being totally lost and not knowing very much about the writing game or the writing experience. I think that is something I'm very sincere about passing along to you as indie writers. So you can drop a comment here, you can ask a question here, or you can put your question or comment at sidmicklepublications@gmail.com if you'd rather not do it on the video. Okay, let's summarize this information we've gone over today. I think these three essential things an indie writer should do are very important, but they're very broad and they're kind of general. So you have to really take this information and drill down deeper into what it really means. And what I'd like to say is this. In the beginning, try to understand you are going to be investing in this project. You're going to invest hours and hours of solitary time in writing your book. And some of that solitary time is going to be frustrating because you're going to be a little lost. The other thing you're going to invest is money if you do this right. You're going to invest in a professional editor because you can't, I can't, we as indie authors cannot final edit our own work. Our brains are too close to the work. We can't objectively do that. So don't go down that path, is my advice. Also, you have to spend money on a professional cover. Don't do what I did and experiment with non-professional covers and be dissatisfied with them. Spend $50, $75, $100. Make sure this really important project, your book that you're investing all this time in, is finished properly. It is professionally edited. It has a great professional cover. And then understand, you've got to spend an awful lot of time putting yourself out there. You've got to get out in front of this book and you got to promote it. You got to figure out what ads to buy or what other marketing method is going to work for your book. None of them are easy. I can tell you that right now. Of the 7 books I have promoted and I have written and then promoted or marketed, none of them has worked very consistently. None of them have been huge successes. They've all been a lot of work. Now, most of them have been worth it and they've generated sales and they've made me very comfortable with the process. but not one step in that entire process was easy. And the marketing promoting side, not a lot of fun. But it's a part of being a self-published author. You have to embrace it. You have to really want it. So take this advice. Take all of it. Don't get so narrowly focused that you paralyze yourself. Don't overanalyze any of it. And remember the key thing, write. Put your butt in a chair and keep writing. You can come back and revise. You can edit and rewrite everything. You can fix anything you write. The best writing is in your revision. Just keep that in your mind and keep on writing. That's truly the most important thing you'll do. And then you can come back and learn and experiment and figure out some of these other processes. And you'll do it a lot quicker if you find your match, your right writing resource and the right writing community. A lot of rights in that sentence. I wish all of you very well in your writing. I hope it goes much better than you expect. I hope it goes a little better than my early days of writing went. So until we get back together in a week or so, I hope all of you take care of yourselves, go out with your friends and your family, make sure you have some fun. It'll be the best part of your week. But until we get together, as I said, take care. We look forward to seeing you later on. Bye-bye.